When it comes to Dragon Ball villains, Zamasu and Baby manage to distinguish themselves from the rest of the crowd. Unlike the others, they both have more going for them than just, I'm evil and I do evil things because I can. Zamasu wants to wipe out all the mortals, and Baby wants to wipe out the remaining Saiyans. Plus, they're both body snatchers. They have similarities, but they have a lot of differences. So we'll be taking a look at their personalities, backstory, motivation/objective, execution of their plan, and then I'll decide which of them, in my opinion, is the better villain. First up is Zamasu's personality. He tends to be calm in most situations. He views himself above all life forms, especially because he's a god. However, he doesn't let his arrogance blind him. He will acknowledge strength of a mortal like Goku when he sees it, but all this does is agitate him even more. In his eyes, only gods are capable of wielding such divine power. It does not belong in the hands of a mortal because they are not worthy. Now let's take a look at Baby's personality. Baby possesses a lot of generic traits of most Dragon Ball villains. He's prideful, he's arrogant, and he's egotistical. But there is one key trait that he does possess that most villains don't, and it's that he is immature. Much like his name implies, he can't handle situations well when he's under pressure. He pouts and throws a tantrum. Yet when he's on the other end of the spectrum, he'll gloat and taunt at his opponent. His personality is a breath of fresh air, plus Baby's generic personality traits have been present in almost every arc. So, Zamasu's backstory is summed up to after watching Mortals. He's noticed a pattern. The Mortals rise, they prosper, and then they eventually cause their own downfall. And what grinds his gears even more is that the Kais are not doing anything about it. Instead of them going down to teach the mortals how to prosper, they simply watch from afar, and the straw that broke the camel's back is Goku. After seeing the power Goku possesses, Zamasu comes to the conclusion that he needs this power for himself to take matters into his own hands. Baby's backstory goes all the way back before the series even starts. The Saiyans go at war with the Tuffles in hopes of conquering their planet. After realizing they can't defend themselves no longer, the Tuffles inject their DNA into some sort of bacterial life form, and they designed this life form to seek vengeance and kill all the Saiyans before wiping out the Tuffles. This might be a shocker, but I'm giving this one to Baby. Sorry but not sorry. I like the Saiyans, and getting new lore added to their history is always a delight to see. Next up, let's take a look at Zamasu's motivation and objective. His objective is to wipe out all of the mortals in all of the universes, in all of the timelines. That is the biggest goal we have seen so far in Dragon Ball history. Yet, what makes someone like Frieza doing this and Zamasu is their motivation. I can see Frieza's explanation for doing this is because he can. However, Zamasu truly believes what he's doing is justice and for the greater good. The main objective of Baby is to wipe out the remaining Saiyans. Though halfway through his plan, he realizes that he also wants to repopulate the Tuffle race, and his driving motivation is out of anger and revenge. The Saiyans came to his planet and wiped them all out, and then took over said planet, so I can understand why Baby is doing what he is doing. When it comes to objective and motivation, bear with me here, but I'm giving this one to Baby again. His driving force is more relatable than Zamasu's. Imagine if the Germans managed to succeed in exterminating the Jews, and you're the last of your kind. If I had the means to carry out my plan like Baby had, then I would do the exact same thing. It's simply revenge and repopulating your race, so I can't blame him for doing what he did. I'm not saying Zamasu's objective and motivation is bad. I like and understand his too. It's just that bigger doesn't always mean better. What is Zamasu going to do if he accomplished what he seeks? He wants every universe in every timeline to have 0 mortals. Who's going to be able to live across all these different timelines and all these different universes? Is it going to be just Zamasu? He already wiped out the gods in Trunks' timeline, and he even wants to eventually usurp the Omni King, so who's going to live there? Also, he says this is justice. Who is it justice for? Is it for Zamasu, the gods that you've killed, or the mortals which you want to eradicate? Okay, now let's look at the execution of their plans. Zamasu's managed to execute his plan pretty well. His first step was gathering the Super Dragon Balls without anybody knowing and exchanging bodies with Goku, and on top of that, he even killed Goku. Before Zamasu, the only ones who have the right to brag that they've killed Goku is Piccolo and Cell. However, both of those times, Goku intentionally sacrificed himself. Zamasu straight up murdered Goku. He then pairs up with himself from a parallel world, and that Zamasu wishes for immortality. Vegeta and Frieza also wanted immortality, yet they never got their wish, but Zamasu did. Then he destroyed the Super Dragon Ball so nobody can wish for anything ever again. And on top of that too, he managed to kill all of the gods of destruction. Yes, it was indirect. However, he still managed to kill the Kais, which kill the gods, which causes the angels to deactivate. I know the angels have to remain neutral, but if Zeno gave them the order to fight, they can't because they were deactivated. Then he was just using Trunks as a punching bag as a means to becoming stronger. The odds were in his favor. He had the time ring, he had immortality, he had the Patara earrings. Not even Vegeta Blue, arguably one of the strongest characters in the verse aside from Zeno and the Angels, could not beat him. It took the interference of Zeno himself to finally end Zamasu. Yet technically, Zamasu achieved what he wanted. He managed to have all mortals in future Trunks timeline to be erased. Baby's plan begins when Dr. Mew discovers a parasite the Tuffles created, and he's infected by it. This parasite, later to become Baby, has Dr. Mew construct the machine mutants so that he can create a vessel for him. His plan goes haywire once Goku, Trunks, and Pan discover him and seemingly kill him. However, he manages to recover from this setback and sneaks his way onto Earth, where he hunts down the Saiyans one by one and takes over their bodies until he reaches Vegeta, and then he eventually takes over the entire planet. So, at this point, Baby has taken over Vegeta and everyone else on Earth. He seemingly killed Goku, used the Black Star Dragon Balls Goku and crew gathered to revive his planet, and eaten Oob after he turned him into chocolate. Even after Goku's return, Baby had the upper hand. It wasn't until Goku went Super Saiyan 4 where Baby was struggling. But yet again, Baby transforms into a Golden Grade Ape. They're pretty evenly matched, but Baby manages to gain the upper hand, and he would have won had Oob not transformed back into a human and attacked him from within. Who would have guessed such a minor detail would lead to his downfall? When it comes to execution of plan, this one goes to Zamasu. They both gotten far in achieving what they sought. However, Zamasu planned 10 steps ahead, and even though he lost, he kinda got what he wanted in the end. I guess this is where I decide who is the better villain. And in my honest opinion, that title goes to Baby. Let me explain. Zamasu is regarded as the best villain by many fans in Dragon Ball because of how different he is. He's not just evil to be evil. Neither is Baby. Baby is evil because he wants to kill the remaining Saiyans and repopulate the Tuffle race. And Zamasu is evil because he wants to kill all mortals. If you're gonna use the argument that Zamasu is the best villain because he's not just evil to be evil, then you have to apply this to Baby as well because he has a legitimate, inarguable reason for doing what he's doing. But the real reason why I put him above Zamasu is because Zamasu was shoved in the closet, never to be brought up again after his arc ended. I don't like villains who cause a huge commotion and once they have been defeated, everyone wakes up the next day like it never happened. If Zamasu were to have an effect like some of the gods of destruction take on his ideology, then I'd put Zamasu at the top because even in death, he'd have others carry out his plan for him. Plus, the entire GT storyline revolves around Baby. The first 15 episodes or so is the anticipation leading up to Baby. The reason the Black Star Dragon Balls exist is so that Goku can go to space and later have a showdown with Baby to end the war between the Saiyans and the Tuffles for good. And everything that happens after their clash is because of Baby. Because Baby killed Dr. Mew, Dr. Mew meets Dr. Gero in Hell and they create Super 17 to wreak havoc. And because of that, Goku and crew had to use the Dragon Balls. Because of that, the Shadow Dragons were created. Frieza is regarded as the best villain in Dragon Ball because he's the one that set everything in motion. Well, the same applies to the GT storyline. Without Baby, there would be no Golden Grey Ape. there would be no Super Saiyan 4, there would be no Super 17, there would be no Shadow Dragons, and there would be no Gogeta. Without Baby, there is no GT. Granted, GT is the black sheep of all the series, but Baby is still great. Unfortunately, he exists in GT, and because of that, people automatically assume he is bad. If he was placed in any of the other shows, then I 100% believe he would be considered one of the best villains. Of course, this is simply my opinion, and if you have a different opinion, then I'd love to hear it. So please rate, comment, and share. Later.